Henry Throop, and I'm an astronomer at NASA headquarters in Washington, D.C. And so I study astronomy and I run astronomy research programs for NASA. And NASA is the United States, it stands for National Aeronautics and Space Administration.
Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. What about you, sir?
Very good, very good. Nice to be here. Thank you.
This is Lakshman, the ninth grader from Z.P.H.S Ilavaram. I am on top of the world to interact with you, sir. Can I ask one question?
Yes, please.
Is it possible to live outside of our solar system? If so, how many years will it take to live there?
Good question. Okay, so let me answer two different ways. If you want to live, it's possible for humans to live outside the solar system if they live in a spacecraft or in a space station. Because you can just put a person in a box, like if you put a person in a metal box with food and air and water, they can live there. So people can live on a spacecraft or a spaceship for a long time outside the solar system if you sent them there. We've never done that because it takes a long time, but they could live there. But maybe what you mean is, could they live on another planet outside the solar system? And the answer to that is that we don't know because we've never found another planet which is exactly like Earth. The Earth is very special because Earth has the right combination of atmosphere and water and temperature and sunlight to make it work for life here. And we found lots of other planets. We found thousands of other planets. Most of them are too hot or too cold or too much gravity or too thick an atmosphere or no atmosphere, things like that. But if we keep looking, eventually we will probably find one which is pretty similar to the Earth. But we don't know because we haven't found it yet.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I am fine, sir. What about you?
Very good, thank you.
My name is Jashwant. I am studying 9th grade in Z.P.H.S Ilavaram. Today, I am proud to ask a question. My question is, what kind of steps does NASA provide to students across the globe to create scientific temper and curiosity towards space science?
Oh, that's a great question. So NASA is always interested in working with students because all of the scientists at NASA and all of the engineers at NASA used to be students themselves. And so there are many programs that involve students. There are many research programs. There's many activities such as watching solar eclipses, learning about telescopes, looking for asteroids, things like that, which NASA sponsors and which students, both in the US and in every country around the world, can be involved in. For students around the world who go to university and then want to study more, there are a lot of possibilities to come to the US to do postgraduate studies. So if you go to college and university in India and you do really well, if you're at the top of your class, then you can apply for admission to universities in the US and do postgraduate studies there. And so you could learn about astronomy and become an astronomer in the US with the help of NASA and and doing NASA research. And so there's many opportunities, both for students at all levels. NASA also has a lot of information about the solar system, a lot of information about our missions, a lot of movies and web pages about all of our missions and all of our spacecraft and all of the results that we find that students can study and follow and learn more about the universe around them.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Very good. How are you?
I am also fine, sir. My name is Akash Kumar, studying 9th grade in Z.P.H.S Ilavaram. I am deeply honored to interact with you. Can I ask one question, sir?
Of course, please.
What are your insights on the progress of ISRO in space science?
It's great. It's great. So I live in Sri Lanka, even though I work for NASA in the U.S. I live in Sri Lanka, very close to you, and it was about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago that we watched the Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft as it was landing on on the moon, and I watched the Chandrayaan-2 spacecraft as it attempted to land on the moon, and it was very sad when it didn't make it about 5 years ago. And then when Chandrayaan-3 was getting close, I watched the launch. I watched the as it was getting closer and in orbit and doing the descent and getting closer and closer to the surface. And it was extremely exciting to watch it go down to the surface. Extremely exciting to watch the Pragyan rover go slowly, slowly, slowly down the ramp. And then I think the rover has gone something like 100 meters so far on the surface. I think the rover is asleep right now because it's nighttime on the moon. But I know that ISRO is a space agency which has made all of India proud with good reason. I am very happy for the accomplishments that ISRO has made, and it's really exciting to see so many countries participating in space exploration. I think it's also great because more countries participating in space exploration means more countries that can work together, because science is all about collaboration. And so the more NASA and ISRO and other space agencies can work together, we can build bigger spacecraft, we can answer bigger science questions, and we can do things that no country by itself could do. There's one spacecraft actually which ISRO and NASA are building together, and that one is called NISAR. It's spelled NISAR, and you can look it up. And it's a spacecraft which is actually studying the Earth, and it's built partially by India, and it's built partially at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, which is part of NASA. And it's going to launch either this year or next year, I believe. I think next year, and it's going to study the Earth, study the oceans on the Earth, study what that has to do with climate change, and it will be a remarkable mission, and it's a mission which is happening only because NASA and ISRO are working together.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
I'm Sushali. I'm studying 9th grade at Z.P.H.S Ilavaram School. I'm so privileged to be a part of this session. Now my question is, why can't I see very many stars at night?
Okay. Well, tell me, how many stars can you see at night, and where have you looked?
How many stars can you see? You with your bare eyes.
Infinity.
How many stars can you see at night? Can you go outside and see them? What do they look like?
Just say the number on the number.
50 or 60.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, you can see the 50 or 60 brightest stars. And those brightest stars are still many, many light years away from you. And the way you can see darker stars or fainter stars is if you go to a place with dark sky, like if you turn off the lights, if you do it on a night when there's no clouds, and also you do it on a night when there's no moon. So if the moon goes away, if you wait for the moon to go away, the sky will be much darker and you can see many more stars with no moon. Also, you need to get away from where there's city lights. So if you look at the sky in the middle of the city, in the middle of the village, you can't see very many stars because the lights block them. But if you go out for where it's very dark, you can see a lot more stars.
Why is space silent?
Why is space silent? Ooh, yeah. Okay, so if you're in space, you might have heard that if there's an explosion, you can't hear it. And that's because sound is carried by air. And if there's no air, then you can't hear the sound. However, there's some planets where there is air, where there is an atmosphere. Like, for instance, if you go to the planet Mars, there's an atmosphere there. And so Mars is not silent. You can definitely hear on Mars. In fact, NASA has sent a microphone to Mars, and we have made recordings of the sounds of Mars. And you can hear the wind, and you can hear dust storms, and you can hear the sandstorms, and you can hear all sorts of things moving on the surface of Mars. We've also looked for things like earthquakes. We actually call them Marsquakes, and we can see those on the surface of Mars. And because that's the surface moving, and you can hear those a little bit through the atmosphere as well. There's other planets with atmospheres, like there's a moon called Titan, Titan. It has an atmosphere as well. Jupiter has an atmosphere, of course, because Jupiter's atmosphere is huge. It's the whole planet, basically. Jupiter and Saturn, you can hear things on the atmosphere there as well. So if there was a big explosion, in fact, there was a big comet that hit Jupiter about a week ago, and you could actually hear that comet as it was coming in and hitting Jupiter if you were on Jupiter. Now, no one did, because no one lives on Jupiter, but if they were there, they could hear it in Jupiter's atmosphere. Hello, how are you?
I am fine, sir. My name is Swati. I am studying 9th grade from Z.P.H.S Ilavaram. It is an
Good to
honor
meet you.
for me to interact with you. Here my question is, why is the sky blue?
Why is the sky blue? Okay. So that's a great question. So basically, sometimes if you're looking at things, you might use like a magnifying glass or a prism. And what a magnifying glass or prism does is it bends the light. And sometimes with a magnifying glass or a prism, you see like a little rainbow. You see like the red light gets bent this way, and the blue light gets bent this way a little bit if you look through a magnifying glass or a prism. And the Earth's atmosphere is basically the same. The Earth's atmosphere bends the blue light, and it bends the red light, and it bends the green light, and it bends those different amounts. Depending on what color it is, it bends the light in different amounts. And what that means is the blue light mostly goes into looking at the sky, and it kind of colors up the sky so that it looks blue. If it wasn't for that, our sky would actually look black. If we had no atmosphere, we could just see directly out into space, and we would just see the black sky and no blue light. So the blue light is the light from the sun being bent through the atmosphere and then basically lighting up the atmosphere. But the sky isn't always blue. Like at sunset, the sky turns red or sometimes yellow or gold. And the reason that happens is that the atmosphere is bending the light in different ways if the sun is down low. And when that happens, then the sky isn't blue, but it's red or pink or yellow. And so the sky just acts like this lens to bend the light in different colors, in different ways, at different times.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
My name is Tasnia. I am studying 9th grade at Z.P.H.S Ilavaram. I feel pleased to be part of this session. I can ask one question, sir.
Please.
Here my question is, what are the biggest challenges for NASA in space sector?
Okay, great question. So the biggest challenge for NASA is that there's so many questions. There's so much to explore. So in exploring the solar system, there's the planets that we all have: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and small bodies, comets, asteroids, the solar wind, moons, things like that. There's so many things to Kuiper objects. There's so many things to explore. And NASA has about 30 different spacecraft in the solar system right now. But even with those 30 spacecraft, there's so many more places that we want to explore. And so, for instance, one of the places that NASA really wants to go to is a place called Titan. And Titan is a moon of Saturn. And it's a moon of Saturn. And what's cool about Titan is it has oceans on it. It's one of the only places in the whole solar system that has oceans. In fact, maybe the only one besides Earth that has oceans on its surface. And if there's oceans, we think that maybe there might be chemistry which is like the chemistry of life. Maybe there is life there, who knows? But we've never been to Titan for very long. We sent one spacecraft to Titan before, which landed on the surface. But it didn't last there for very long. And we've sent some spacecraft to orbit Titan before, or to study Titan from nearby before. But what we're working on now is actually a spacecraft which is going to land on Titan, and it will actually be a drone, like a helicopter. And it's gonna land on Titan, and then study the surface where it lands, and then it will pick up and fly off and land in a different place and study that. And then it will land over here and study that. And then it will land over here, and then it will land over here. And it will go to dozens of different places all across Titan to explore Titan. And so Titan has oceans, it has lakes, it has rain, it has clouds, it has sand dunes like Rajasthan. It has, we don't know if it has life, but of anywhere in the solar system that's interesting to look, because it has interesting chemistry and interesting geology, Titan is so interesting. And so we really want to do that. And so we're building a spacecraft right now. It's called Dragonfly. It will launch in 2028, and it's going to go to Titan. And what we only wish is that we could send something like this to everywhere in the solar system. And we're working on it. NASA has so many other missions that we're planning on, but the solar system is big, and so it takes a long time to explore the solar system.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. What about you?
Very good, thank you.
My name is Sanjana. I'm studying 9th grade in Z.P.H.S Ilavaram. I'm so excited to interact with you. Can I ask one question?
Please.
How many stars are in the space? How long do stars live?
Okay. So this, as your colleague said earlier, she could see like maybe 50 or 60 stars. But the actual number of stars in our galaxy is about 10 billion. So that's, is about 100 billion. So that's the one with 11 zeros after it. 11 zeros going like that. That many zeros. That's just in the Milky Way galaxy. There's 100 billion stars. There's also 100 billion different galaxies. So you put that all together, and that's a one with 22 zeros after it. I'm just going to write that number here, just because it's a really big number. Let's see here. So this is how many stars there are. So let's just write it out here. So 1, let's see, 0, 0, 0, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. That's how many stars there are in the whole universe. Approximately that number. So we can say this is 10 to the 22 because there's that many stars in the universe. Each star is just as special as the sun. They're probably not more special, not less special, but could be very similar to the sun. And each of these stars could have planets going around it. And we know that many of them do because we've actually found found planets around a lot of the stars. Each star lasts for a different length. Some stars last for a really long time, billions and billions and billions of years. Some stars burn really hot, and they actually last only for, maybe 1 million years. Some stars burn really, really slowly and really cold, and so they last for a long, long time, many, many billions of years. Our star is about in the middle. Our star has lasted for about 5 billion years so far, and it's probably about halfway through its life. So maybe it will last for another 5 billion years until it slowly dies out.
Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm Roshni. I'm studying 9th grade at Z.P.H.S School, Ilavaram. I'm on cloud 9 today to be part of this session.
Of course, of course.
In NASA doing its research on other planets other than Mars in order to find existence of water resources.
Yes, yes. So Mars is one planet that NASA is studying for sure. But water turns out to be all over the place. For instance, we found water on the moon. It's not oceans of water, but it's water which is frozen in glaciers near the south pole of the moon. We found water on Mars, just frozen water. But there's liquid water that we found in different places. For instance, there's a moon of Jupiter called Europa. And this moon of Jupiter called Europa, it has glaciers and it's all covered with ice. It's all covered with water ice. And it looks a little bit like the North Pole of Earth, where you have a layer of ice on top. And then if you go beneath that layer of ice, there's going to be an ocean of liquid water below it. And so there's oceans and oceans and oceans, so much liquid water. Maybe there's life on Europa. We've never seen it. We've never really been there to look for it. So we don't really know. But NASA is working on a spacecraft called Europa Clipper. And Europa Clipper will launch next year, next October. The Europa Clipper mission will launch. And it will actually look and it will study the oceans on Europa. There's other places to look. For instance, there's another moon of Saturn called Enceladus. And there's so many other moons. In fact, Saturn has about 50 moons, and almost all of them have water on them. Almost all of Jupiter's moons have water on them too. Most of those places is not liquid water. Like, there's 3 different phases of matter. You can have liquid, you can have solid, and you can have gas. And most of the water that we've seen is in solid form or in gas form, like in the atmosphere, or frozen solid. It's pretty rare that we find liquid water. And so that's one of the things which is most special about the Earth, is it has lots and lots of liquid water. But Europa and Enceladus have lots and lots of liquid water as well. There's probably other places in the solar system where there's liquid water, but those are the places where there's the most liquid water. And liquid water, if we're looking for life, liquid water is really the best place to start looking, because all of the life that we have on Earth, every single life form that we've ever found on Earth, all of it requires liquid water. And so if we're looking for a place where life might last, we want to look for liquid water.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So Henry, here I take this an opportunity to ask a few questions. So since my childhood, I have had a few more doubts actually, sometimes linger in my mind related to the space. So today, whether it is NASA or ISRO, has been doing a tremendous job and to find out the water resources in our solar system. So I heard that there are many solar systems in our universe. So it has taken a long time for us to explore the water resources. Still, our exploration to find out the water resources still in progress. And in the case of some planets, that means the information is not yet that much credible. So if this is the scenario, how about the other solar systems in this universe? Can man find out the water resources other than our solar system? Because I believe that there are so many solar systems in this universe. can a man mind, can man brain in future find out the water resources other than our solar system? Can we reach that place in future? Maybe with the advancement of technology, is it possible? Could you please tell us something about this?
Yeah, great. So there's a difference between stuff inside our solar system and outside our solar system. Inside our solar system, that's things like Mars and Jupiter, Europa, Enceladus, things like that. And there's lots of places where there's water inside our solar system. Outside our solar system, there are probably also lots of places that have water, both frozen and liquid. There's probably even more. But it takes a long time to leave our solar system. In fact, even with the fastest spacecraft that we have, even with the fastest spacecraft in the world, which are like the Voyager spacecraft or the New Horizons spacecraft, and they're going 30,000 kilometers every hour, the fastest ones we have. Even with them, it takes 1 lakh years to get to the next solar system. So how many of you, let's just have a show of hands, how many of you would like to spend the next 1 lakh years on a spacecraft in a metal box traveling to the next solar system? Anybody? Come on, come on. Nobody. Well, so it's very hard to go there. So maybe in the future we will have faster spacecraft, but not as fast as the speed of light, because we don't have any technology to go as fast as the speed of light. It takes a lot of energy, and even our fastest spacecraft now can't go anywhere near the speed of light. So right now, the only place that humans can go is inside our solar system. And even inside our solar system, it's really hard to take humans around. It's actually much easier to take robots. The fastest spacecraft that we have are just robots, like the Voyager spacecraft, the New Horizons spacecraft. Those are robots. And they have no people, they have no atmosphere, they have no food, they have no toilets. And so it's much, much easier to take a robot than a person.
Thank you so much. Henry, here I have one question. Today you are the very famous astronomer all over the world. I think the students from across the globe would like to interact with you. So we are so blessed in that factor of interacting with you. I think it has been a third time to interact with you. So we are so blessed in that way. So there must somebody in your childhood influenced you to show your passion towards the space science. So must be a teacher or must be a family member. So could you please share about your the person who actually influenced you to enter into the space sector?
Yeah, well, I have to say, the person who I think of the most like that is probably my high school physics teacher, my secondary physics teacher. His name was Mr. Cannon, and I went to I went to secondary school in the U.S., and so he taught physics, and I took physics with him for 2 years. And so I learned all of the equations of physics, all of the laws of physics, all of the laws of Newton's dynamics and gravity and forces and mass and acceleration and things like this. And he was such a good teacher, and he was so enthusiastic, and he was such a good person. And so I learned so much from him. All of his students loved taking the class. And so he made such the difference. And for whenever I think of how to do a physics problem, I often try to think like, oh, well, how would Mr. Cannon do this? Because then that gives me the idea of how it would do it. And what was good about him is he wasn't, the class wasn't about memorizing equations, and it wasn't about memorizing big words. It was just about how to think clearly and how to think using simple equations, and how to think you can, so much of physics you can describe with a short equation. You don't need big, long equations. You just need a couple of short equations. And it's not hard. and it's fun and it's creative and it's a way to connect with the world. And I learned so much from him, and that's the approach that I use to physics. And I'm so grateful for, the great teachers that I've had in my life. And I'm so, and I all of you students, I hope that you are grateful for the great teachers that you have in your life, because they can make such a difference for you.
Thank you so much, Henry. And here are two questions left. So space science provides a lot of job opportunities for the current youth. So could you please tell us some of the job opportunities for this young generation? Most of the Indians, they all run after the software jobs, and whether it's India or USA or somewhere else in the world.
Yeah.
But very little people, they know about the space science, and they hardly think about the space sector and the opportunities that lies in the space sector. Could you please share about a few opportunities that this present young generation can avail?
Yeah, for sure. So I've worked on a lot of different spacecraft for NASA and a lot of different science projects. And all of them require, they require scientists, but they also require a lot of engineers. They require optical engineers, mechanical engineers, software engineers. They require writers. They require project managers. They require accountants. They require safety technicians. They require teachers and educators. They require graphic designers and writers and reporters. And so it really requires everybody from different careers to come together to build space missions like this. It's not just scientists, and it's not even just scientists and engineers. It's really everybody. And so all of these jobs, at NASA or at ISRO or at the European Space Agency in Europe, in France and Germany and the other countries, or at anywhere else around the world, all of these jobs are super important.
Thank you so much. And here is my request. In fact, it's not a question, it's a request. So Andhra Pradesh is one of the states located in southern part of India. It is located close to Tamil Nadu, and Tamil Nadu is close to the Sri Lanka. So is there any possibility in the future to visit Andhra Pradesh? If you are able to do that, we are so blessed. And you could we are ready to conduct a seminar if you are able to make your way to Andhra Pradesh. So that's going to be, I think, a great opportunity for many students that are studying in the public schools in this part of Andhra Pradesh. So is it possible in the future?
I hope so. I hope so. Thank you for the invite. I will think about it. I used to live in India, and I lived in Bombay for 3 years. And of course I live nearby now. And so I hope that I can come back to India, and I hope that I can visit Andhra Pradesh. And no promise, I don't have any plans, but I would love to visit. I would love to meet all of you in person. And if I can do that, I will, that I will let you know, and I will really look forward to it.
Thank you so much. And before we wind up the session, could you please give a final message to my students?
So why I love astronomy is just because, or why I love science is because it's just about curiosity. It's about asking questions, and it's about exploring the world around you. And I love to see all of the curiosity that you students have asked today and wondered about today. So many of these questions are questions which you can answer, and you can study, and you can explore the world around you. And there's much more knowledge, there's much more ability to explore now than there used to be. Doing science isn't just for scientists. All of you can go out there and can explore and can see how things interact, and can look up at the sky, and can look at plants, and can look at insects, and can look at chemistry, and study and interact with it, take classes, understand the physics, understand the science which is going on. So keep being curious, keep wondering about things, keep asking questions, keep doing experiments, and and that's how you know, you can keep active and really explore the world. So thank